On today's show, we have Donovan James from Athlon Sports. We get his insight into recruiting in the state of Georgia. Then we have Ettore Monthly on to talk about the Falcons preseason, his thoughts and opinions on the two games that the Falcons have played so far. Also, we look back at Corky Kells of the past, and we both share our thoughts and opinions on this year's Corky Kell. This is the ATL Fan Podcast. This is recapping the weekend on fansfavoritefan.com. Right now, I just want to tell you guys about a little secret, especially if you are a small business owner or you're a CEO of a company that's about to be a Fortune 500 company, or you're one of those people that just works from home or remote because your company is somewhere out there and it's not in the Atlanta area. Well, I want to let you know about Spaces Midtown East, and Spaces Midtown East has a friendly staff. They are very open and welcome to the type of business that you are running. And just to tell you more about it, we have the regional manager here from Spaces Midtown East, Steve Choi.
Oh, thank you, Alex, and thanks for getting that secret out there. And absolutely not many people know, but I think they're starting to learn more and more about what we do. We here at Spaces Midtown, we provide both collaborative space as well as private space for all types of professionals, whether that be individuals like yourself or small companies and even large companies. And so I really do appreciate you giving us a chance to get a shout out there. And I absolutely enjoy having you and Fans Favorite Fan come out. So if anybody out there wants to come take a look at what Spaces Midtown East is about, let us know that Alex sent you. We'll offer you a 5-day test drive. Go to www.spacesworks.com and come on in and set up a time, and we'll have you come in and take a test drive for free.
Thank you, Steve, for those kind words and that information, because I definitely couldn't remember that off the top of my head. So I definitely appreciate that. It is a block north from the Fox Theater, and if you've lived in this city for about a year, you know where the Fox Theater is. So just check them out. They're right on Peachtree Street, and I'm going to put the link to their website in our show description. So be sure to check out Spaces Midtown, and they'll definitely hook you up. Well, I hope that you guys got a lot of rest this weekend. Hope that you feel rested up. I know college is about to start back, and this is when we really start to get into the grind at work, trying to pull out the last 2 quarters of the year. But friends, here at Fan's Favorite Fan, we're all dog tired. We want to go home, take a nap, and just recover from what was Corky Kell this weekend. If you don't know what Corky Kell is, I'm sorry, but Corky Kell is a football jamboree. I kind of describe it to people that don't know it as a football tournament. It's a football tournament, but you don't move on to the next round. You just play one game, and then you're done with it. But the cool thing about it is you have a you have a luncheon where all the media gathered. Last year, Jake Fromm put on, actually 2 years ago, my bad, Jake Fromm actually put on a good show there. But still, like, all the top football players, usually you get a couple of kids that are in the AJC Super 11, or a lot of kids that are just projected to go D1, or a lot of schools are after of all these high school prospects. But it's a fun event that Metro PCS and Score Atlanta put on. Kudos to them for organizing it, putting it on, and it's a lot of fun. But it definitely tests your patience and your sleep resolve and your energy, but it is worth it at the end of the day. If you want to get into this business, I'm just talking to people that are interested in sports broadcasting, sports writing, try to get credentialed for Corky Kell, because you really get a taste of what this business is like, and that can actually help what you're doing. Because to be honest with you, a year ago, I wasn't planning on working for Fan's Favorite Fan. I wasn't planning on trying to host my own podcast or anything like that. I was just trying to cover my high school team and do video for them, and just try to expand on what I had as a business model. But I met Don Montgomery Green, and I just couldn't say no, because this definitely working for Fan's Favorite Fan the past year has taken me to a level that that just exceeded my expectations. And I think a lot of people are really have been really disappointed this past weekend, speaking of expectations, because the Atlanta Braves just lost a 4-game series to the Colorado Rockies. So the Atlanta Braves, they've had a rough weekend. Maybe as rough as us trying to cover Corky Kell and trying to get decent sleep in, but hey, that's life. And baseball to me is starting to go out the window, to be honest with you. I'm full steam ahead on football season right now. Football season has pretty much started here at Fan's Favorite Fan. I know college is going to start next week, but this is when a lot of people kind of stop paying attention to baseball and pick it up if their team is in preseason play in October. But hey, that's just the way Atlanta works around here, unless you're an Atlanta United fan, which I know you're probably still on until October. But yeah, just rough overall, but at the end of the day, hey, great experience this weekend at Corky Kell. This is the ATL Fan Podcast. I'm Alex Berger, and we're definitely glad that you're tuned in and listening to us today. Check out fansfavoritefan.com. If you're a real sports fan, you're definitely going to love Fans Favorite Fan. Hey, if you need to get score updates, go to Fans Favorite Fan. We got an awesome score ticker. Need to check it out, preferably after you listen to this podcast. But if you're like me right now, got my laptop open, go to fansfavoritefan.com. You're not going to regret it. Just check it out. Now we're going to bring on Donovan James from Athlon Sports. I'm with Donovan James with recruitingnewsgurus.com, and they're another website covering the Corky Kell, and we just want to talk to Donovan about his recruiting insights, since that's what his website mainly does. He mainly focuses on high school football recruiting. And Donovan, just tell us, who are some of the guys that you're looking at this Corky Kell that are going to be big stars in the SEC and elsewhere next year?
Yeah, so the first opening game Thursday night for the Corky Kell, 2 5-stars caught my eye. Harrison Bailey out of Marietta, 5-star quarterback. He's 6'4", 219, threw 6 touchdowns, which was Marietta's record for touchdown.
Wow.
6 over 400 yards.
Wow.
He's got Michigan, Georgia, LSU, Florida, all the top schools on his list, so he's great. Eric Bailey, excuse me, as well. Number one athlete in the country for class of 2020, was great. Plays defensive end, tight end, both 5-star guys, great players. And I was really impressed by Knox Kadum as well, the Rome quarterback. He's done a really good job. I think he can pick up some big Power 5 offers, especially from LSU, with 2 quarterbacks just transferring out. So that was another player to watch. Keep an eye on.
Now, it used to be when you think about the states of recruiting, it was Texas, Florida, California, Georgia. Now it seems like people like Tom Luganville and a lot of other people in the recruiting game say it's Texas, Florida, and Georgia.
Right.
Would you agree with that or disagree?
Yeah, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. I mean, California is obviously really prevalent. Obviously, one of the biggest states in the country. Arizona is picking up a lot as well. Obviously, Jersey's in there and Ohio. But, yeah, those are the main states. And, obviously, South Carolina and Alabama do a good job, too. But I wouldn't leave out a couple of the West Coast states. But, the South, and obviously the East Coast, best players in the country.
Right. Just talk to me more about the state of Georgia and just why is it just so talented?
I feel like a lot of people are moving down here, man, from around the country. I know Texas is king for college football and high school football, but a lot of those kids have moved maybe at an earlier age, and a lot of people from Florida are moving up to Georgia. Atlanta is booming right now, is rising, so a lot of people are moving out here for the film industry from California, state like that. So I think there's a lot of local homegrown players. Guys like Quincy Avery, quarterback coaches locally here, doing a great job. A lot of the best coaches in the country are coming to Atlanta and the greater Atlanta area. And Middle Georgia's been rising as well with a lot of talent, like Jake Fromm, Georgia's starting quarterback from Houston County High School. So, yeah, I mean, Georgia's doing a hell of a job, and they're going to continue to do better, I feel like.
Now, would you say the University of Georgia head coaching job that Kirby Smart holds right now, would you say that that's pretty much the best job in college football if you can get a rein on the recruiting?
Yes, I would say it's at least a top 5 job. Maybe not the best, that's debatable, but it's a top 5 job in the country. And he's doing a great job. I mean, all the talent he's got in with Justin Fields and Dick Fromm and all those guys, James Cook from Florida. I mean, it just keeps rolling and rolling. It's not the biggest state population-wise, but all the talent likes to stay there. They grew up Georgia fans. Their heart goes red and black. So, I believe that it is one of the premier jobs in the country.
Now, we've been covering Corky Kell all today. Who are some guys that have stood out to you today on this Saturday day, the last day here at Corky Kell?
Yeah, so the running back from Colquitt County, 3, he did a really good job. His name slips my mind right now, but he did a really good job, especially eating the clock at the end of the game and then him lining up a little bit in the slot to Colquitt County as well. Their quarterback, I thought, JC did a really good job, just kind of distributing the ball. He's got a lot of FCS offers, but he's only in class of 2020, so he'll be better and he'll do great. Running back out here, Tyler Goodson from North Gwinnett. I was running back. I was running back soon. 3-star. Could earn a 4-star at the end of the season. A lot of speed. 5'11", 192, all-purpose back. So he's been impressive. I mean, right now he's already scored 2 touchdowns. I believe they're up 17-0 on Brookwood. So live right now. So he's done a really good job. Yeah.
Right. Now, speaking of quarterbacks, we got to see Andrew McLaughlin with Buford yesterday.
Yes.
So, what did you feel about his performance yesterday?
I thought he was okay. I thought he could have been a little bit better. I mean, he's gotten a lot of hype, obviously, for how big he is. He's a 5-star quarterback. He's worked out. I watched him work out with Steve Clarkson, Trendsetters, all those guys. Steve Clarkson's one of the best in the country. He's a private quarterback coach in middle school. He's gotten better, I will say. He needs to get a little better with some accuracy, with touch on the ball, on the deep passes. Intermediate game needs a little bit help as well. Just touch. Sometimes he just overthrows a little bit too much and underthrows. But he's a good quarterback. He's raw. I will say he's 6'5", though, 221. Around that size. He's got the size and arm talent. So give him 2 more years, he should be fine.
Do you think he's going to be the next Trevor Lawrence when he becomes a senior in high school?
The next Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to have to say no on that. I think he's got a ways and ways to go. I would say I would be closer to saying Harrison Bailey of Marietta. Honestly, would be closer to Trevor Lawrence to me.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, man.
No problem. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right. Here is my conversation with eToro about Falcons, Corky Kell, and a whole lot more. By the way, at the end, it was the end of the day at Corky Kell, so if I seem a little loopy in this part of the show, that was why, because we recorded it right at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's why we're the ATL Fan Podcast, because we get into places like Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So definitely going to love this part of the show if you are a Falcons fan. Well, now we just want to welcome to the ATL Fan Podcast one of our guys who was just on it last year with the NFL coverage for the fan show, Mr. Ettore U Monthly. And I have to, before I bring him on the show, I have to forewarn you, we are right now in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I mean, doesn't the title of the show fit it now, ATL Fan Podcast? Because we are right in the press box of Mercedes-Benz Stadium at Corky Kell Classic. So if you hear any loud noise in the background, we are not in a studio or anything like that. We are live on site. This is our version of, I guess, road journalism. So, Mr. Ettore, Falcons right now in preseason are 0-2, but hey, it's the preseason. Not too many people take too much stock into this, but what have your impressions been so far?
I think the Falcons preseason, the second game by far has been more impressive than the first game. You look at what the first team offense did minus Julio and Devontae Freeman. They put up, by and large, 14 points in the first half of football. When you saw semblances of what you may see during the season.
Right.
And I felt like they showed themselves well. I felt like Calvin Ridley makes some really good plays. Matt Ryan finished the game, smooth 5 for 7 for 90 yards and a touchdown pass to Ridley. But like I said, I mean, the Hooper, I believe. So all in
Mr.
all,
Hooper.
All in all, and if you haven't seen the touchdown reception where he leaped over a Kansas City Chief en route to the end zone, you need to look at it on Instagram. But
I've been swamped with Corky Kell.
It's absolutely amazing.
I'll have to look at it now. But so do you feel like they kind of rebounded themselves from the first game losing to the Jets? Because that was kind of embarrassing, especially seeing Ridley really getting blown up on the first play from scrimmage. And did you see any improvements?
I mean, it's hard to say because the play calling for the first team was so vanilla.
Right.
2 run plays up the middle and a bubble screen, and then a penalty on top of that. You're in 3rd and 23 in the first preseason game. So it wasn't something where it wasn't much to glean from it from the first preseason game. It wasn't much to glean from it. So no, I don't think. But considering that, definitely the Friday's game was a vast improvement because you got to see more of the philosophy at work. Week 1, you didn't see any philosophy. It was, look, just go through the motions. Let's not get hurt.
Now, I know a lot of people are being pretty high on the Falcons. Do you feel like they're worth that hype right now, even though they're not really doing that great in the preseason? Granted, I know it's preseason.
When you talk preseason, I feel like the last time a team went 0-4 during the preseason, they ended up in the Super Bowl. Like the Falcons went 0-4 in the preseason 2 years ago and ended up in the Super Bowl. The Falcons went 3-out in the first preseason game and ended up in the Super Bowl. I know that those are empty stats. I get that. But it also speaks to the hyperbole that fans tend to have about preseason football. I look at the fact in Friday night's game, the Falcons were 7 of 12 on third down. They had 83 rushing yards last night compared to last week where they had more penalty yards than rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, when you have players who ain't going to make the team, third string, fourth string guys playing 70% of the game, you're going to have that.
Right.
So, but for what it is, this team showed vast improvements. Kansas City didn't really do much until the starters got out of the game.
Now, the third game is obviously going to be important because that's when you're going to have majority of your starters in for quality minutes. What should Falcons fans look forward to with this third preseason game?
The battles, the right guard battle and the strength of the offensive line is going to be tested against the Jacksonville defense. I feel like with Jacksonville's defense is absolutely outstanding. They are outstanding. They beat the Minnesota Vikings in preseason action today, and they they've got big receivers. Of course, they've got Fournette. You know what he's going to bring to the table. You know what that defensive line is going to bring to the table. This is probably, and since you're not facing Jacksonville this year, but outside of the Rams, nobody has a D-line and a defense like Jacksonville. They hit you, they have attitude, they arrive to the ball with cruel intentions, and Doug Marrone and team president Tom Coughlin, they are building a physical, just physical beasts. They're building beasts in Jacksonville. And there's no team on the Falcons schedule that's comparable to that. So it will be a fun game. It's going to be an entertaining game. I'd be interested to see even if Devontae and Tevin play, what they bring to the table next week, it may or may, I think it's negligible because they don't have to prove anything.
Right.
But I do want to see how the Duke Riley step up. I want to see how Calvin Ridley, if he's matched up with A.J. Bouye or Jalen Ramsey, if Julio does not play. How does he get off the line against those physical cornerbacks? I want to see how Austin Hooper attacks the second level of that Jags defense with Telvin Smith. Wonderful linebacker they've got there. And then, of course, can they keep the quarterbacks upright?
Right. No, I feel like we got a good grasp on where the Falcons are at. Talk to me about the Titans. How has the Titans preseason gone so far, and since they've started their camp, and what are your expectations for them?
It's funny, with them being in the same division with Houston and Jacksonville, to maybe in more so Jacksonville's case, the up-and-coming team that has, quote, arrived, I feel like the Titans, it all comes down to what they are offensively. Because when, in the Green Bay game, they didn't reveal a whole lot. They kept, the game plan was basically vanilla, and they were more concerned with evaluating talent rather than how to read and react to game plan. But I feel like the Titans have enough. The Titans have enough to be a playoff team. I think they'll win 9 or 10 games, but I feel as though they have to win the games they're supposed to win.
Right.
Last year could have been memorable had they not lost to San Francisco, had they not lost to Arizona.
Right.
You know, those are games. You win those games, you win a division.
And they were good enough to beat Indianapolis.
They're good enough to beat Indianapolis. They were good enough to go on the road in the playoffs and beat Kansas City.
Right.
In the playoffs.
Right.
So this is a good team. Now, how Mike Vrabel transitions from D coordinator to head coach, that remains to be seen. But he does like mobile quarterbacks and offensive philosophies that do take advantage of the mobile quarterback, because he even said, as D coordinator, defending against the mobile quarterback was the hardest thing for him to do. Because you have everyone covered and Deshaun Watson sneaks out of the pocket.
Right.
And gets you 20 yards.
Right.
So taking care of Mariota is also priority number 2. Their offensive line is really good. I mean, Taylor Lewan. Listen, I want Taylor Lewan to officiate my wedding one day, and we'll drink tall boys during the reception. I think that's just amazing. But I think furthermore, the Titans have the makings of a 10-6, 11-5 football team if they win the games they're supposed to win.
Right. Well, let me ask you, I can't believe it's been about a year since we actually met and got on this crazy ride, started the fan show, now the ATL Fan Podcast. What have been your impressions of Corky Kell? Because that's the game that we both met each other at, and I was covering Roswell High School, and now I started working for you guys. And what does this tournament mean to you in particular? I know it means a lot to Don and everything, and what have your thoughts been about this year's Corky Kell?
This year's Corky Kell, great football. Great football, but amazing atmospheres. The fans bring it every single game. The fans bring it, and even Buford versus Tucker, the 5:30 kickoff on Friday, which is tough because you're fighting Atlanta traffic to get to Georgia State Stadium.
Yeah.
You know, I have the dedication of the people that attended. They must be applauded, and I feel like that's the overall theme that I've seen and noticed from
Buford. Had people waiting just waiting to get in the stadium because the stadium wasn't ready yet.
Absolutely. And they have had, and I think that's the biggest thing, was dedication.
Right.
Is the overall theme between Casey and Craig Sager Jr. on down through IJ and everybody within the organization to the sites. Didn't go to Rome Thursday, but Seth, it was an experience, Seth told me. And then, of course, Georgia State was amazing. And then the crown jewel is coming in here at Mercedes-Benz. It's been the dedication and the passion of everybody for this classic has been absolutely outstanding. And for the football fan that just want to get out the house and enjoy football, let me tell you something. There ain't nothing on TV right now.
Right.
You know, we in preseason. Preseason's gonna put you to sleep.
Braves are pretty much gonna be in the playoffs at this point.
Absolutely. Braves are in the playoffs, and if you ain't watching the Braves, you need to be here.
Right.
Period. End of story.
Right.
Corky Kell is the place to be.
And if you haven't seen an Atlanta United game, shame on you, but still.
Oh yeah. Atlanta United games are parties. It's Atlanta's largest party.
Especially if you get into a free suite with all the fixins.
That suite was immaculate.
I know it was. It was amazing. That food. Oh my gosh.
Let me tell you something. They'll cook. They'll cook
for
you here.
Barbecue here. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could have been obese that day. Like seriously, like I went to one of the suites we had. I was full, and they hadn't even got into the brisket, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so tempting.
The brisket here at Mercedes-Benz, I particularly love the brisket and the 3 cheese mac and cheese.
Oh, I love that mac and cheese. That mac and cheese was off the chain.
Their mac and cheese is amazing. Best media food I've had. Definitely miles upgraded over Georgia Dome.
Right.
Georgia Dome was one step above cafeteria food.
That's generous. That's generous.
But here they would listen. It's first
even
class.
Even today, because Corky Kell doesn't provide food. I'll just put it out there right now. So you're kind of left on your own with the stadium food. But going from Georgia State to today, here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, like they have a Jim and Nick's, they have a Chick-fil-A, and the concession stands that are just generic concession stands. Like, they have a Mexican place. They have just, like, I think probably a hot dog place and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. Like, food here is just first class. I'm about to get into this when we get off the recording. But, yeah, fun weekend. You don't get a lot of sleep this weekend. But overall, fun weekend. Thank you, eToro, for joining the ATL Fan Podcast. And where can we check you out at if we want to see what you got going on, your articles that you recently put out there, and where can we find you on social media?
If you, for my articles, go to theatlantavoice.com, atlantavoice.com. And you'll find my articles there. Twitter, you'll find me there at Picturemane, Picturemane. That's all social media, and you'll find a lot of sarcasm. You'll find some sarcasm, some smarminess, and some commentary. But Picturemane, you'll find me there. Other than that, I'm just 2 weeks from now, it's football. 2 weeks from now, college football begins.
It sure does. Oh, my gosh. I can't take it. Okay, I'm not going to do that then. Okay, I was trying to take a picture while we're recording, but I'm not the best selfie person. But, yeah. So we haven't got a lot of sleep, but thanks for joining the ATL Fan Podcast, eToro, and thanks Corky Kell for letting us cover it again, and Burger out. We want to thank Donovan James for joining the show. We want to thank eToro You Monthly for joining me and looking back at memories gone by. This is the first recapping the weekend show. Hopefully it was a success for you as it was a success for us here at fansfavoritefan.com. Now go check out Fans Favorite Fan, but first, we need your help. Yes, we need your help because this internet age, is very interactive, and we want your feedback. The first thing you can do is like the podcast wherever you see it, because we share it through all social media platforms except for Instagram. We're trying to figure out Instagram, trying to work out the kinks with sharing the podcast through Instagram, but that we'll figure that out soon. Also, too, we're going to be where you can get all podcasts, but right now we are on podbean.com. That is the main hosting platform for the ATL Fan Podcast, and be sure to hit that like button. That like button goes faster than you would ever think in this internet age. We definitely would appreciate you hitting the like button. Also, too, if you want to talk about Corky Kell, Falcons preseason, we really didn't cover college in this one. If you want to talk, if you have your thoughts and opinions about just sports in general that's going on right now, and you live in the Atlanta metro area, or you live in the state of Georgia, because even though we say we're the ATL Fan Podcast, we are reaching out to the state of Georgia. It's just Atlanta's the biggest market in the state of Georgia. That's just how it is. Yeah, be sure to put the comments in the comment section, because we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your opinion, and your opinion's your opinion, and we're not gonna agree, disagree. We just love that you're giving feedback to us, and thanks again for listening, guys. It's been a heck of a weekend. I hope to see you guys. I hope to see you, because I'm hosting a podcast. I can't see anyone since it's just audio, but hope to hear from you guys in the next podcast for Football Friday. We're going to try to bring back David Berger, our Mr. College Football, to finish up a conversation that we were having with him about an article that he recently put out about his predictions on the college football season. So if you want to hear college ball, be sure to stay tuned for Football Friday for bringing back David Berger. Thanks again. You guys are awesome. And episode 77 is